Hello YouTube and hello Ninth Age community. This is Charles with Evershade Gaming, and I've got another Ninth Age battle report. This is a friendly game, Dread Elves versus Empire Sonnstahl. I'm playing the Empire Sonnstahl, so strap yourselves in for a bloody fight. So I have the deployment for both armies in this picture. I'm not sure who deployed first, but I do know that I went second. And we're playing Spoils of War. But we'll start going from left to right with my opponent's army. He's got 30-some the Dread Elf Spears on that hill. He's got a Raptor Chariot. He's got 5 Dark Riders. He's got a big block of Obsidian Guard with a Selexian Officer General who's got the Master Slaughter Spear. This was after the most recent beta. It was sometime in the summer. He's got a Fierce Shrine. He's got a unit of 15 auxiliaries with his Master of Witchcraft in there. He's got a Miss Leviathan. It's that big lion tusk thing in the back. He's got a smaller unit of Judicators, maybe 20 or so. And he's got a Temple Exarch in there with, I want to say he's ran Divination this game, and he's got he has a Essence of the Free Mind on him, and he's got another Raptor Chariot, and 5 more Dark Riders. So starting from my left to my right, I got my Steam Tank. I've got 20 heavy infantry supporting with halberds, full command. I've got 30 or so Imperial Guard with great weapons. They're actually 5 wide and deep right now. Next to that building, we've got a big block of heavy infantry with halberds. They have my prelate in there, who's my general, Imperial Seal, that kind of setup, and then a BSB with a death warrant. I've got my Master of Cosmology with a magical heirloom on a lightning reflexes cart behind them, and then I've got 20 infantry, 20 heavy infantry with light infantry with handguns. Full command, marksman's pendant, I think repeater handgun in the champion, 9 or so rangers. I've got a single, you can kind of barely catch him in that rune over there. I got a single inquisitor on foot right now, rocking the, he's got Willow's Ward on foot, he's got the ranger boots, and he's got the silver shots upgrade. And then I've got a unit of 9 riders with repeater guns, and a unit of 5 electoral cav. So, all these blue markers coming out. Damn. So this is my opponent's turn 1. So he vanguards, and he just fast cav right in front of my troops. He gets really aggressive turn 1. I mean, he's playing Dread Elves. It's kind of their thing. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. Zoning a little bit on one side of the field, but really pushing forward with his Obsidian Guard. His spear's a little bit more hesitant. That's about it. So he gets Curse of the Phantom Queen off. And then he actually fails to cast the Raven's Wing, which was probably very good for me. But he does get a Evil Eye off from, I want to say he was able to get the Turner shooting off on my riders this turn, and he put the Evil Eye on this unit. And he puts, oh, that's going into my turn actually. So I totally missed my movement. I don't move a whole lot, I just charge the Shaft, and I'm just trying to set up my shooting so they can take out his Miss Leviathan, or put as much damage on it as possible. Which we ended up doing, I think, 6 wounds to the Miss Leviathan in one turn, which is pretty good. The cannon was taking a shot at a chariot. The Steam Tank the cannon rolls a 1, rolls a 2, so it's out of the game. It's a bummer. There it is. Yep. So between all the shooting, we put 6 wounds on the Miss Leviathan, which was not bad at all. So there was kind of this, I remember this was a weird thing. So I cleared out his chaff, and he had these Dark Riders in my flank, and he had his Obsidian Guard, and he kind of actually had them all too close, so he couldn't make a charge with the Obsidian Guard. So what he ended up deciding to do was just charge with the Dark Riders to hold my heavy infantry in place, and then he charged his chariot into the Rangers. And that's right. He also put his Obsidian Guard into the flank of them too. Potential overrun into the Inquisitor with the Chariot, and then he's just going to be in a good spot with his Obsidian Guard to face the heavy infantry next turn. This is the rest of the how kind of moving forward. It's kind of held back with my Imperial Guard with great weapons. In hindsight, I wish I didn't do that. Because as tough as those spears are, I wish I had just forced combats on that side of the field. Yeah. Oh, you know what? And I think about it, I have an Inquisitor in that unit too. I have 2 Inquisitors in this list. Inquisitor with the Hammer Witches and like a just like a 1-up armor save 1-foot Black Steel. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know why I was holding back. Yeah, I should have been much more aggressive on my left side of the field here. Gets Curse of the Phantom Queen off again. It's tough to stop. Yeah, this is where he puts Twisted FG up. I want to say he did that turn 1 too. Maybe I was able to shoot the missile vine on these guys. I can't remember. They might have helped put some wounds on it. He puts Gloria Gold on these guys. I think just in case some shenanigans happen on the flank right there. And then he Ravens Wings his or he fails to do Ravens Wing again. Yeah, it's really failing. There must be 2 dice in it, just rolling poorly. So the Obsidian Guard do and the Chariot do blow through the Rangers. The Chariot does make the overrun. I think it was only a 5, so it was very likely. And then other than that, this is what he just turns to face. And this was a really good play by him. I totally did not expect this. So he comes in. He does a few, does a considerable amount of wounds. I'm in line formation, unfortunately, which was sort of maybe my mistake. So I don't have any ranks. I just have 2 banners. And I was kind of thinking my BSB would do some damage. They wouldn't do a ton. They do a decent bit of damage. And then I kill a couple. And then he uses his hereditary spell to do another 3-4 wounds and easily win combat. So he just held me. So I reform now just to go deep to make sure I do clear these guys out because I don't need to be fighting these, and then I need to get my hatred reset so that I can fight the Obsidian Guard next turn. Unfortunately, he's gonna be charging, but he goes first anyway. So that's just what it's gonna be. Yeah. So now to kind of seeing that the Obsidian Guard are really gonna go for the halberds. Now I'm a little bit more aggressive on my left flank. I kind of wish I'd been there before. He's got 1 spoils right now with the his Obsidian Guard, so I'm going to try and pick 1 up with my support unit. And then other than that, my steam tank just goes 5d3 inches forward. There's not really a whole lot in that spear unit that's going to be able to stop it. I don't know why I didn't do that earlier. Yeah, I know at the beginning of the game I didn't want to get too close to some of the things like the Judicators and the Obsidian, the Selexian officer with the Master Slaughtery, because that dude could just be putting wounds on. But yeah. And then on the right side of the field, I've still got my Electoral Cavalry looking at another objective, but we're fighting, we're kind of got a chariot zoning us. I need to get my riders over there and be able to shoot so that they can do something. I think in the first round of combat, this is a fluff. And then this is actually fast forwarding in the second turn of combat. I don't think a whole lot happens in my turn. I think I just shoot the Obsidian Guard with my handgunners. Take a decent bit off, as you can see. This is them going to combat with the halberds. But yeah, I think the first round of combat, my opponent fluffs because I got Will's Ward, so I still have a decent armor save. And we just sit there. And then the next turn, he turns up and he kills me. So a bit of a bummer. I was kind of hoping I could get a cheeky lethal strike and do some damage and maybe take off the chariot myself, but just the dice weren't there. I believe this is me doing a Unity Divergence on his Judicators, taking some wounds out. Oh, I think this is the chariot dying this next turn. Yeah, I kind of totally skipped this comment. Let me go back to this. So you can see the Obsidian Guard. I finished off those Dark Riders on my turn 2, and then on his turn 3, he charges the Obsidian Guard in. They've taken some serious damage from the handgunners. My heavy infantry started around 50. It's somewhat depleted, but I still have quite a bit. He goes and he just smokes my BSB in 1 round. He's just got a 2-up armor save, I think. But I still have Hatred, and I +1 to hit, and I kill everything but the Selexian BSB. And I want to say it ends up, he might still end up winning combat, just because he does kill a ton of heavy infantry. You can see it here, where he's just got the Selexian officer in combat with 20 or so halberds, and my prelate's still alive. I think this was an attempted charge by me, and that failed. The steam tank does end up going to the spears at some point and beats them. They start running away. And this is another kind of, I'd say, big turn. So he puts his Missile Leviathan took 6 wounds on one of my first turns. He kind of pulled it back, and then he brought it back into the middle board later in the game, which wasn't a bad move because I wasn't able to shoot it for one turn. And then once my shooting was like kind of less available to take it out, I think he was kind of in a good spot to bring it back, and he puts it in this combat. And I want to say at this point he's already killed my prelate. We got into a challenge with my prelate versus Selexing Officer. I'm thinking like I got a great weapon. Like I'm not great, but like, you know, like I'm thinking I can hold him up, maybe beat him with static combat res. My opponent's dice were just hot. It's Master Slaughter, so I want to say he just did 2 lethal strikes and just killed the prelate in one go, which was a real bummer. But happens. I don't know. It was kind of a risk. But I felt that if I didn't have the discipline, I was going to flee anyway. So, yeah. So I want to say at this point, he ends up breaking these halberds who are going to flee, and those characters are going to get into the wizard, who somehow passes a panic test. As you can see, he's kind of just backing up on his left. Yeah, we're still fighting that combat. But at some point, what really happens, the big thing, is I do put 2 wounds on his Selexing Officer. I think with just the standard halberds. He's got like maybe just got 2 up armor save. I try and really push for the middle of the middle of the board. I've got 1 objective with my heavy infantry on the left side of the board. My electoral cavalry at some point take some damage and just get reduced. I don't think they were. I'm trying to think what they were getting shot at by. Maybe my opponent did take alchemy. I can't remember. I move into the middle of the board to get aggressive and to try and claim some more tokens. But he just kind of starts backing away, and he gets a Raven's Wing, and he gets his like auxiliaries farther away. And really I just kind of can't catch him at this point, kind of late in the game. Those Imperial Guard moved up too slowly to be of any use, unfortunately, in this late part of the game. I do get an altered sight off. I take a wound off the steam tank just because, and then in this combat, it's quite incredible. The Selexing Officer gets into a duel with the wizard, and I somehow poke his last wound off. So I do kill his general, but I think he just wins combat and makes my wizard run away. So I get his points for a Selexing Officer, but the wizard's gone, which is a bummer because obviously it's a lot of points, and I need that magic. He's got 1 wound on his dang Missile Leviathan. He's going to eat these light infantry next turn. Actually, looks like they just fail a tear, get caught, and then I shoot him with 3 riders on one of my last turns to get rid of his Missile Leviathan. I still got those. Yeah, I got 2 electoral cav alive, but they just took some wounds at some point, and they couldn't really fight one of those chariots because they were just, if they failed to charge, even charging in, honestly, that chariot could probably just win against those electoral cavalry. They just hit so much harder. So the end of the game really ends up being right here. I think the steam tank makes it in the Fear Shrine and kills it. I can't remember if that happened at the end of the game. But my opponent's able to get onto the far objective with either I think it was his auxiliaries Raven's Wing on there. Pick up the objective at the end of the game, and we ended up sort of tying on the objective here. Thinking back, I actually killed his Selexing Officer, BSB. His general was the Temple Exarch. So this game ends up being a 15-5 to the Dread Elves. I don't really have the list. I can't really calculate the points, but I know it was a decent win for my opponent here, and it was an enjoyable game. It's definitely a tough one. I feel like there were a lot of swingy rolls back and forth, some misplays on my part, and some, I think, some places where my opponent, maybe flubbed some things, and it kind of got a little back my direction too. So, but all in all, very fun game. Thanks to my opponent, Neil Hamilton from ETC Mexico fame, and thank you everyone for watching. And we'll see you soon for more Ninth Age content.